do we want, I guess the question about Occupy movement is, do we want to me, it's also one that we would just issue a statement on, I think, or a position.
Well, more than just issue a statement on it, it seems like to me we have not had, there's a disjointed front in the Occupy movement. And maybe what we need to do is sponsor a forum and pull people together to discuss, to give people the chance to discuss what's going on, what their feelings are. And invite people to come and speak, and then go before city council and with the information that we have, and make a proclamation. You know, make a recommendation to city council about it. You know, because I don't think city council, you know, when I see people downtown, and I don't know how many of you went into the Occupy camp. I went down there, and I'm thinking, Vietnam and the civil rights movement, those were young people movements. Those started with young people that brought this along. And we need to help get that started and get it going. This country is in deep doo and going down further into the pile by the second. And when I hear people saying, well, I think they have a right to feel the way they do, but I don't think that they should be in the park. Well, pretty soon your butt's going to be in the park with them, you know, because you're not going to have any place to live. And so I think we really need to bring this out so that it's not, you know, bring out what are the issues and not so much the face of it. Because this is a very serious thing, and it's a human rights violation of what's happening to the 99%, which we are all a part of. And we need to really address that and speak. So I think we need to have a very public forum, and I know we have a huge turnout on that.
That's going to be a hard thing to put together without staff. So I think it's a great idea, Donna. We just have to have the will. We have to have the will and the organizational skills. I mean, Sarah will do like the legwork for it, but we have to figure out who we want to invite. Then we have to invite them. Then we, you know, the speakers. Then we have to have them be there. I mean, it's a whole thing. And so I think it's great. I would love to like have you take the lead on that and do it. And I would totally support you. In order to make, if it were to, unless you were just like everybody come and have, unless we didn't want a panel of experts and we want to just like invite people to come and talk.
I think we just should have people come and talk, because I don't think there's any place that people feel like they're being heard.
But
just
where? I'm not familiar with how they're operating, but I know when they were in the parks, they had their, what they called it, the General Assembly. And so they met every day, they talked every day. Anyone had a right to go up and speak, and everybody had to be respectful to it.
Did you know what they were saying? Did you get to hear it? Did
some of it got onto the news?
What the bottom lines were? Well, but you know, Occupy wasn't brought out until Occupy New York and the first ones weren't. You know, Occupy Wall Street wasn't brought out until it was reported on some of the smaller stations, and it had been going on almost a month before the larger stations reported it. So I don't know that, you know, I haven't heard everything you had to say. I mean, I get a 15-second snippet on the news. Yeah. That's not I mean, if people get a chance to really address what they're feeling.
But where my comment was going was building off of what Emily was talking about, the difficulty in organizing a separate event, and then the question of who are we inviting and how are we doing and all that. So, again, in my day job, one of the things we work on is outreach and getting our message out, and how do we best do that. And one of the ways we found that's very effective is identifying the key groups we want to reach and identifying when they are meeting and going to their meetings, getting on their agenda so that we have time to speak to that group. And so this seems like an opportunity or an issue that may lend itself better to that when we go to them.
We don't know what we have to say on the issue.
Well, right. I mean, we'd have to figure that out, and then we'd have to go talk to them, or we just task. I mean, another option is to, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we task a couple of commission members or volunteers or whatever, can we say, hey, you know, I'll figure out where they're meeting and go and we'll report back and get a sense and identify like, okay, when is a good point for us to insert ourselves and go and make a statement?
Well,
Because I agree with you, I want that, I absolutely agree with what you're saying, and I think that's important, but if it's going to be difficult to arrange and do it well, then maybe we consider this other way of accomplishing somewhat of the same goal.
you know, I really believe in, what was that, Field of Dreams, build it and they'll come.
Yeah.
And I think if we set up the forum and send out to various groups that we know about, rather than us going to them and say, okay, at this place, maybe at PCC, that's a great, you know, it's a great space already there, see if we can get that. We're gonna have people come and speak and do the same thing we did with JTTF and have your little red, green, and, you know, your little light there. And people get up and make a statement, you know, and people sign up to speak and be on the agenda. And we've invited certain groups to get their network open, to invite other people to come, and there are other people, you know, I think we'll have a full house.
Let me say a little bit about, I actually, in my comments, I actually did go to the event that was brought forth by Mackenzie River Gathering about Occupy and the intersection of race and class. And it was at the First Unitarian Church downtown. And it sounds to me,
When was that at?
it was last Thursday. And it sounded to me in being at that event that they are starting, that parts of the Occupy movement are starting to base out of the First Unitarian Church. They're very connected to that organization right now. And one of the people that spoke on behalf of the Occupy movement was, I don't know her last name, but Shizuko?
Oh, yeah, she had spoken to us another time.
Another time with Safe Communities.
I mean, about safe communities.
About safe communities. And so, you know, we've got some connections there if we want to try to play into them. And we do need to determine when that would be. And not only when, but what. What is our purpose? I think
there have to be a
maybe
purpose.
coordinate with Mackenzie River
right,
to find out what they're doing. I will be happy to do that,
with Sharon.
yeah.
I think there's an opportunity there. That's my church in Cape Laura, our social justice minister is
Yeah.
very active in the movement. We can connect with her and shoot around some ideas and see if there's opportunity. We have relations at Mackenzie River Gathering and see what their thoughts are around it. I had an experience last night leaving a meeting down at City Council, and there was a station outside around,
Ending the camping ban.
and a human rights as a place to stay, but they were having conversations or sharing some information about the seizure impact when they had to vacate the park down there, that the police took their camping equipment and by law were supposed to hold it for 30 days, and that was they felt a human rights violation that didn't follow through. But I wondered, my mind went to our work with the Community Police Relations Committee, how we can find some answers around, I often experience a perception versus reality is different when we're looking from the outside in at a situation, and how did our city function through that? What was our Portland Police Bureau's responsibility in honoring those rights during the process? Just finding some answers for things like that and helping spread that information around. It seems to me like an easy action we could do.